What's up, fight fans? This is Kurt Taville with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I got some new news concerning Lou Dibella. Lou Dibella has gave us more insight on the ongoing negotiations debacle between Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. He had a lot to say about this whole scenario, and he brought a different approach, and I wanted to share it with you guys. Of course, I'll send the link in the description of the video that I watched so you guys can see it yourself. But let me give you a breakdown of what the Lou Dibella had to say about Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. He says, of course, a lot of reporters were asking him questions, and they asked him that. First of all, let me just start off and say what he said. He said that Deontay Wilder is a one-punch knockout artist. He goes back. He's a throwback of the era that he has that type of power that can put your lights out. Okay. He could be down 4 or 5 rounds, and then with one shot, he can end the whole fight. Okay. So he said that about his fighter. Now the reporters went on to ask him, well, what do you feel about Eddie Hearn's proposal of attaching Dillian Whyte onto an Joshua fight? So if you fight, you come over to Britain or the UK to fight Dillian Whyte, then you get Anthony Joshua, you get past Dillian Whyte, And, Lou Dibella went ballistic. He spits and all this. Who the fuck is Dillian Whyte? Would you know who the fuck Dillian Whyte is if he was walking down the fucking street? And I was like, dang, he went off, And he was like, come on, Deontay Wilder is the fucking heavyweight champion. He's the champion of the world. He's on top of the world. He does not need to fight some regular ordinary dude in order to fight another champion. What the fuck? He went off. Get the fuck out of here, you know what I mean? And then it's crazy because he really kind of lost this. But that's Lou Dibella. Lou Dibella's over the top. And if you upset him with something that he doesn't like, that's what he'll do. And that's my impersonation of Lou Dibella, spits and all, right? So, and he went on to say, no, he won't do that. And he won't, oblige Eddie Hearn by giving one of his ordinary fighters a payday. So obviously Lou Dibella does not respect Dillian Whyte, and that's a no-go, And of course, he said Dillian Wilder is the boss, and so that fight won't happen. He won't fight Dillian Whyte. But we already know what the situation with Deontay Wilder and Dillian Whyte. Deontay Wilder does not want to fight Dillian Whyte. He claims he wants to fight Joshua, but of course, we know what the money is behind it. So let's get back to what he had to say. He also said that Deontay Wilder is not his fault. His career is not where it is now. And he said his career is in the situation it is now is because of Povetkin. Because the Povetkin fight was pretty much that fight that was going to show him who he was, because that was a high-ranked golden Olympian that he was going up against until he failed 2 drug tests. Now, no, that is not Deontay Wilder's fault. That was very unfortunate, you know what I mean? But I think after everything set and settled, I think he still should have fought Povetkin. I still think that because, instead of going through all the, the lawsuits and stuff like that, I believe that Povetkin should have been the fighter that he still eventually fought. And again, Anthony Joshua was that guy that fought that guy. Of course, that was he fought him a lot later, but this guy hasn't been beaten since he was decisioned against Vladimir Klitschko. So I think that fight should have happened. Also, since at that same time, that was also the same time, guys, that Deontay Wilder stated that he did not, or he would not fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. Now, this was early 16. Okay, so this was almost 3 years ago. So, and the irony of that is you wouldn't fight this guy because he got popped dirty, and he said all this about King Kong Ortiz. Oh, he's a dirty fighter. He shouldn't be allowed to fight. We know the stories, right? And if you don't know, now you know. He said he would not fight Luis King Kong Ortiz. Now, he went over to Russia, mind you, to fight Povetkin, right? He went over to Russia to fight Povetkin, and he popped dirty. Then he popped dirty again. So the fight didn't happen. I think and then that's kind of ironic that you avoided a guy in your own Americas to go over to fight a guy with the same problem that you said you wouldn't fight this guy for. That just proves my argument about, people avoiding Ortiz, even though he was shit on. But guess what? So was Canelo Alvarez. You know what I mean? He had glenbuterol in the system. You know what I'm saying? And everyone's praising him right now. For one, for beating Golovkin. For two, for signing a big deal, the biggest deal ever. Right? So, you know what I mean? No one really talks about the glenbuterol no more. So I don't think that that's really a big thing. So if you're going to praise one guy, you can't scorn another guy that did the same thing or is doing the similar things, right? Or at least in the same ballpark. Okay. So, and he said, who knows where Deontay's career would have been? Well, I do. I think it is. I don't think it is Deontay Wilder's fault that his career is the way it is. I blame his management for it. And he's a part of the management team. Lou Dibella he's connected. He's affiliated with Deontay Wilder, and I believe they should have taken him in fights. But he said something interesting. He said that Deontay Wilder wasn't scared of any fighter and he wanted to fight those guys. And it was me nor him did not refuse any of those fights. Well, that kind of remains to be seen because remember the Vladimir Klitschko fight? They never fought him. You know what I mean? And that was around the same time he was upset by Tyson Fury. People don't talk about that. You know what I'm saying? Now, Anthony Joshua fought him, of course. This was later. This was after the Fury. But then Dibella also said that Wilder would knock out the version of Klitschko that was beat by Fury and was beat by Joshua, who'd beat them both. And that's highly debatable because he went on to say if Deontay would have caught Anthony Joshua with that same punch that Klitschko caught Joshua with in the 6th round, he would have been out like a light. I agree with that. That might have been the case. You know what I mean? But you fail to realize that, let's look at it this way. That what if game. So if Deontay Wilder hit Joshua with that same punch, meaning the same circumstances had to occur, right? So in the 5th round, if Joshua would have caught, and that was Deontay, would have caught Deontay and put Deontay down, would that been, you see what I'm saying? Would that been a point of Deontay surviving that round like he did Ortiz? You see what I'm saying? So, if you apply one sequence, you have to also apply the other sequence as a whole because that happened before he got caught. Joshua got caught after he put Klitschko down in the round before. So we have to factor that in if we were just throwing caution to the wind. Theoretically, if we're looking at that, we're saying, okay, well, hey, that's what it is. If you dropped him, he would have to drop you that round before. That's where I'm getting at, guys. So, and then he said, well, let's look at it another way. The punch that Klitschko caught Joshua with. What if Deontay Wilder got caught with that same punch? See, everyone's talking about what Deontay Wilder does if he connects. Of course, if he connects with a punch, that right hand, that's all he needs. That's the scary thing about Deontay Wilder. He needs that one punch. But if he catches you, he can do damage and he can put you out. You know what I mean? He can render you unconscious. There's no doubt about it. No one's disputing that. He has power. Okay, we know this. But let's not pretend like other people don't have power. Okay? So when Lou Dibella was speaking on Klitschko, he would have beat that version of Klitschko. Okay. Well, that means that if Deontay Wilder would have caught Klitschko, would he have put Klitschko out of his misery? Maybe. You know what I mean? But if Klitschko got up to rally like he did, like King Kong Ortiz did, and he got caught with that right that Joshua took from Klitschko right in the temple. No, sorry. Right on this side of the head, right? What would Deontay Wilder's reaction be? That's the question you ask. You know what I mean? But again, he wasn't in any kind of high caliber fight like that. So we would never know. He didn't take those risks. He didn't take those chances, and Lou Dibella was like, okay, well, hey, just come honest with it. We won't bend. We won't fold. I've known Eddie Hearn since he was a kid. He's not an idiot. He knows if he went in there with Takam and he had a tough fight with Takam, why would he want to go in there to get in there with a guy that would knock your fucking head off? It was kind of hilarious because the way he said it was a lot funnier than the way I'm explaining it to you. You know what I mean? But it was funny because of how he was explaining it. Like, hey, he had a tough fight. You don't want to put him in there with another crazy tough fight. So they wanted to, give him a rest. But he did go in there and fight Joseph Parker, which was a, chess match-like style fight. So, but back to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte, I don't think will get that opportunity. Now, here's the deal. I got to explain this, guys. Eddie Hearn wanted Deontay Wilder to fight Dillian Whyte, and then he fights Dillian Whyte, beats Dillian Whyte, then he gets the Joshua fight because it's like a 2-fight deal, right? Okay. Well, they said that's a no-go. I get it. He's the WBC heavyweight champ. I get that. But Deontay Wilder did the similar thing with Dillian Whyte, the same guy. He tells Dillian Whyte, hey, you fight Luis King Kong Ortiz and beat Ortiz, I'll give you a shot. You know what I mean? So it's really like, okay, if Lou Dibella's saying, oh, we're not going to do that for an ordinary fighter. So, well, why should Dillian Whyte, do that? Or let's put it this way, because I would like to see that fight. Everyone knows I would like to see Whyte and Ortiz. But it's like, if you guys are not trying to fold to negotiations, why would someone else fold for those same negotiations or those same type of negotiations with an attachment to the champ? You know what I mean? You fight this tough fight, you get the champ. Because that's basically what Eddie Hearn was saying. You fight Dillian Whyte, you get Joshua. Then Dillian Whyte was like, okay, well, hey, if you fight Luis Ortiz, you get me. So it's kind of like, well, no one has done anything of the sort. No one has folded. No one has agreed to any of that. So those fights are likely to happen. Of course, the end of the road leaves differently for Dillian Whyte. He still has to fight Chisora, right? Which I would want to be Luis King Kong Ortiz, because if Dillian Whyte was smart, he would have fought Ortiz to question or to challenge Deontay Wilder's word. You know what I mean? Because if he went in there and he fought Ortiz and then Dillian Whyte, then Deontay Wilder still wouldn't give him that opportunity, then everyone would know he was a fraud. Because they got him cold on those text messages, on those inboxes or whatever, that Deontay said that he would freeze out Dillian Whyte. Lou Dibella stated that all Eddie Hearn has done is discredited Deontay Wilder. Well, basically, here's the deal. All Lou Dibella is doing is discrediting Dillian Whyte, saying, who the fuck is Dillian Whyte? That's all that's happening in this situation. So people are discrediting everyone except the guys that they want to fight, which is Anthony Joshua and Deontay Wilder. And then here's the deal on that. Well, Lou Dibella was still promoting that fight. If you notice, because if you guys look at that video, I will send the link, like I said before. He was still promoting that fight. So he said it'll inevitably happen, right? It's inevitable. It'll inevitably happen, right? So it'll eventually happen, and he doesn't know when, but it will happen, And he said if Eddie Hearn needs more time with his boy, with Anthony Joshua, hey, let's, just tell us, but come honest with us. That's what he's saying. And we don't have to do what you say. So basically, it's a standoff between promoters. And then, Lou Dibella he gives you more of an aggressive approach on what he'll do and what he won't do. But at least we know. The fight's going to eventually happen, guys. It's just when. We don't know when it's going to happen. Like I did a video yesterday stating to you guys about what Eddie Hearn said, because he's trying to get his side of the deal, or he's trying to get the deal done his way. You know what I'm saying? Because these guys have totally two different ways of doing things. And it seems like to me, Deontay Wilder is trying to, he's trying to pretend like he's the A side. Sure, he's the A side in a situation with Dillian Whyte. So, you know what I mean? So Eddie Hearn was showing that he was the A side in the negotiations with him and Deontay Wilder, and Deontay Wilder is mirroring that same concept and showing that towards Dillian Whyte and telling Dillian Whyte what he should do. You know what I mean? And someone was telling Deontay Wilder, which was Eddie Hearn, and Joshua's side of things, what he should do. So it's all a debacle, man. It's crazy. But again, he was promoting the fight. He stated he doesn't know who the hell is Dillian Whyte. We don't know what's wrong. We don't know what's right. And that's what we have. So anyway, you guys tell me what you think about Lou Dibella's statements about Dillian Whyte. Of course, please subscribe. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.